everybody, welcome back to my channel Stitchy AF. This is Stitch With Me number 5 now. Oh, that seems to have gone quick. Sorry. Yeah, we're doing more work on the Gamer by Gecko Rouge. So I did just put up a video. I must have only posted it yesterday actually. So today is Saturday. But I did post a Stitch With Me up that I had recorded earlier in the week on Wednesday. I won't normally do midweek uploads, but that's just this week I had Wednesday off, so I thought I would record. Welcome back to all of my subscribers, and a warm welcome to anyone that is new that has just found my channel. I've had a couple of new subscribers since I've put that post up yesterday, which is great. It's always really nice to read all the comments where people are saying that they enjoy my Stitch With Me videos and the way that I just ramble on. I'm glad that people are getting enjoyment out of it. Like I've said it before, you know, Stitch With Me is one of my favourite types of floss tube videos, because it does just make you feel like you are sitting there with someone else stitching, and someone else that kind of understands stitching and you know, why you love it so much. So yeah, thank you to all those who have recently joined us and subscribed, and yeah, hope you keep enjoying my videos as I go along. I did have, so you would have seen in my progress photo that I put up, which I didn't put up on the Wednesday video, purely because I didn't. Oh, sorry, I've just had a look at that and panicked that I was doing something wrong. No, right colour. Yeah, I didn't have an updated progress picture to put up on the Wednesday one. So this will kind of be the progress picture I've put up, though I took just before I started stitching this video. The reason I didn't have one on Wednesday is because I've kind of been just working on this all throughout the week, which I think I did touch on in my video on Wednesday. So I just haven't been snapping pictures. Normally I would, when I put it away at the end of the weekend, I take a picture. But yeah, I haven't put it away, so I didn't even think to take a picture. And then by the time I thought, oh, I should have taken a picture, I'd already filmed the Stitch With Me. And I was like, I don't have a progress photo from before that. So anyway, that's fine. This one will have a progress picture because I've just taken it right before I started filming. So that's excellent. That's that. Yeah, so in that progress picture, you would see that I have, I've now touched a bit of her face. I've got a little bit of a forehead there, which you can see in this video too, if that's not where I put the pattern keeper. But yeah, so I've kind of done her whole fringe bit at the top, and I've got the top of her head started. So in this tower that I'm doing here, currently, I should touch on a bit of all of it, the background, her hair, and a bit of her face there. So it's coming along rather nicely. Which, you know, it's exciting when you see that you're actually getting kind of somewhere with it. And yeah, I'm excited. I feel like I just told you I'm going to touch on, oh no, I guess, yeah, no. I was like, yeah, I'm going to touch some of the border, but then I just looked at it and I'm like, no, it's probably that one row there above where I'm currently stitching that is going to be the only purple that falls into it by the looks of this line that I've just put here as the outline of her hair. So I did have a lovely comment this morning from one of my new subscribers. Oh, I've pulled that off there. Who just asked for me to kind of touch on the differences in like the style I stitch in. So those who've kind of been with me from the start or who have gone back and watched the other Stitch With Me's will know that originally I had started stitching this pattern in a diagonal, and then I have moved now to doing the Royal Rose method. So yeah, so the comment this morning that I saw was just asking if I could kind of expand on kind of like the differences between the styles and how, kind of like my thoughts on how these styles are going. So I originally had started this going diagonal. Now this is my first ever full coverage huge project, my first BAP. So before I started, I was a little bit overwhelmed with how I'm going to do it, because normally if I'm just stitching on one of my smaller pieces, I will either kind of do like cross country or I'll do like color completion. And I kind of just work it in any way like that. And so I was a little bit like, I didn't want to do cross country in this. I didn't want to do cross country in this because I didn't want to run out of floss. This is obviously a kit because that's what Gecko Rouge does. They do the kits. So I was kind of worried that if I did it the way that I would normally stitch, I'd waste a lot of floss, and then what if I got to the end of it and didn't have enough. So before I started, and it was easy with this one because up in the top corner is obviously just all of that background. So I kind of just did it 10 by 10 square up there to do the background, and I kind of started out that way. But then I, watched a few Stitch With Me's, watched a few videos, watched a few... You can wait until lunch, I've told you that. Get out. Oh, you're not going to starve by the next hour.
I'm eating it.
You're not eating it. You can wait until lunch.
I am.
Get out.
I'm not eating it.
Whatever. Go away.
Yes.
Bloody hell. My apologies. These kids, I just said to them, I'm going in there. I'm going to start filming. I'm going to close my door, and that means you can't talk to me. And they both said, yeah. And then, we're 10 minutes in, and Ben's already come in twice to try and get food. Anyway. Where was I now that he's thrown me off? Oh, kids. Yeah, so that is kind of how I started. I started just kind of doing 10 by 10 blocks, and it was kind of in a diagonal blockish way. Obviously not finding, so on my pattern keep I still have the red lines there, marking kind of how I was, the diagonals I was working on. Obviously that's not how I did it right at the start. I was just doing like 10 by 10 blocks and kind of building out from that. I wasn't following like that red diagonal line. So then when I started to get I was a bit like, oh God, I don't know if I really like this method. So then I moved to, I went to YouTube, to FlossTube, and I watched a few people who were working on full coverage pieces. And so I kind of was looking at their techniques, the way they did it, to try and get a better understanding of like what's the correct way to do a full coverage piece. And I know that there's not really a correct way to stitch at all, like you do what works for you, but I was a bit overwhelmed by it. Like, this has been my unicorn piece. It's the piece I've wanted to do for years, and I was real worried, like, oh, I'm gonna mess it up. Like, what if I mess it up? You know. So I went there. I went to FlossTube. I watched some great videos. I started this years ago, so I can't remember who exactly I watched or what the videos were, unfortunately. But I just felt like, I kind of was watching some, and then I just kind of picked bits and pieces off the videos I watched that I thought, okay, I could do that. Even like with my Royal Rose that I'm doing now, I'm not strict with how like the Royal Stitcher does it. Like, I'm not like, so I kind of just like adapt it to my style, obviously, which I think everyone does. You, as a cross stitcher, you kind of have a style, a way that works for you, and that's what you gravitate towards. So any kind of style I pick up, I kind of do, and then I'm like, okay, but this will work for me as well. So I just kind of started doing that in the diagonal way, following a few examples that I found on FlossTube. But then it all became a bit much for me. So, sorry, I'm just trying to mark out my, whoop, I don't want them. Undo. Oh no. Failed. frogget. Thank God that's not a real frogget. Now I'm just... Get out of here. Now I can't get this to listen to me. Okay. I want that. I want that. There we go. Lesson for today. Just focus on one thing instead of trying to talk and mark off at the same time. Okay. I think that's it. We'll soon find out. No, that's one for sure. It's a new symbol I've had to add. That's one that I've missed there. Okay. Now I think I'm good to talk again. Yeah, so I was working it in a diagonal that was kind of loosely based off some of the videos I was watching on FlossTube. But they were still, like, within that diagonal, they were still working it cross-country, which is what I started to do because I thought, well, I do cross-country anyway, I'll work it like, that seems like a diagonal kind of way that I can get my head around and be able to do. So I started doing it that way, and I did get into it, but I think when I first started this like Stitch with Me's, I was at maybe 10%, and I had been working on Gamer for, I think I started it in 2018. So obviously, like, years I'd had it, and I was hardly getting any progress on it. And I feel like that was partially because of the way I was doing it with the diagonals and the cross country. It just took a lot more brain power. Is that the right way to describe it? It just felt like a lot more effort needing to be put into it to just get the littlest bit of progress, because I was cross-countrying down those diagonals, so there was a lot of boxes that I was like looking over to make sure I got all of the symbols, that I, there was a lot of counting, there was a lot of because I was doing like along that diagonal and then like extreme cross country, so I was color completing in that diagonal. It was just a lot. Like, it was draining to try and stitch it and I kind of put off doing it. So I wasn't getting much progress when I was stitching, or it didn't look like I was getting much progress because I was covering such a large area. Whereas with this Royal Rose method, I feel like you can obviously see the progress a lot quicker because you are doing it in blocks. So your blocks are filling up and you can kind of see that part of the picture straight away. Like yesterday I I finished it off this morning actually, but this tower right here beside it, like I was like, great, now I've got a part of her forehead. Whereas if I was doing the diagonal and I was colour completing, I wouldn't get to see this for maybe a couple of sessions worth of stitching, because I'd only be working on like the one colour. So in that sense, I prefer this Royal Rose method. I feel like I'm getting more progress. I feel like I'm working a lot quicker because I'm not stopping and starting to do all of that counting and, making sure I'm hitting the right spot, all of that stuff. So it's just going a lot quicker than it was. And obviously, like, I'm stitching on it more. I want to stitch on it. Whereas before I kind of was like, oh, it's the weekend, I should stitch on it to try and get progress. Like, now I'm like, I want to stitch on it. And like I said, I've been stitching on it all week. So that's a huge thing. That's a huge tick in the Royal Rose column for me, is that I seem to be more motivated to work on this now that I am I feel like I'm accomplishing something. So I started this is my 5th session, my 5th stitch with me. And I think the first one, I don't know if it was actually right at the start of January or whatever, but since January, we've done, I'm at 13.77% now. So since January, I've done nearly 4% compared to since 2018 to January 2023, I was at I got 10% done. So, I mean, if you're into those types of statistics, then obviously I'm achieving more now that I've switched over to the Royal Rose method. So yeah, in terms of my preference of working, the Royal Rose method to me is easier. I feel like I'm accomplishing more. So yeah, that's just my opinion on like my preference between the two ways of stitching it, I guess. It also for me is to me my backs are neater under behind the Royal Rose method, because I'm obviously not carrying my thread as far as I was doing the diagonal cross-country method. There was a lot of carrying in that. Whereas this one, it is more organised. Like, my waist threads go to the side. The threads that I'm going to keep using go down to the bottom. So it is a lot neater, a lot less bulky at the back. And it is neater where my threads are. So my waist threads look neater. My threads down the bottom where I've parked are a lot neater. Like, the diagonal, I kind of had waist threads and parked threads going all over the place. It was really overwhelming. And like, when I'm doing, like, going back to where I kind of picked off and stopped doing the diagonal, you can clearly see my waist threads there are just a jumbled mess. So that was kind of another reason I think I might have put down the project so easily when I was doing the diagonal, because that was another thing that kind of made it exhausting, was looking at all of the threads and like the tangle and the so yeah, overall, like, my preference is the Royal Rose method. You know, the ease of it, the speed that I'm working at, the neatness to both the back and the front, all just seem so much better with the Royal Rose method. I think that another thing is that, like, this project, we're probably in blockier parts now because I'm doing the conversion on the hair. So I'm doing the 3799 and the 310. So it's blocky, but on the pattern, obviously, this would be confetti heavy because they have a lot of changed colours. But I have found, even where it is a bit confetti heavy, so in the stars, the skin, obviously she's got like a lot of different colours, so even in the confetti portions of this pattern that I've had to work through, I find the Royal Rose still keeps it neat. Where it's confetti heavy and you're doing like the cross-country style of stitching, the threads that are carrying all over the back and where you're jumping and moving on like that, it does get quite bulky at the back there, where I don't think that is a problem with the confetti areas I've done on this. I don't see that same problem at the back that I do when I was doing like the cross-country confetti area, because you really are just working in these two blocks. So even though there's confetti, you're jumping only in these two blocks, and then you're parking it or you're ending it. And whereas on the diagonal, I could be working in like 4 blocks that I'm jumping around in. So I'm really dragging that thread at the back all over the place. So yeah, I hope that gives you a little bit more insight into kind of the differences that I have found in my stitching since like swapping over to this Royal Rose method. It was a great question, and I am more than happy to answer any other questions anyone might have. If you want to pop them in the comments, I'll gladly talk about it if that is what you would like me to do. What have I done there? Yeah, so great question. I'm more than happy to answer any other questions that anybody will have. Get in your home. So yeah, I hope that has answered a few of the questions and explained a few of the differences that I find between the two methods of doing it. I definitely prefer this Royal Rose method. Yeah. Stop for a drink break. I've been rambling. So I might end this one because I don't think I'll get. Oh no, I could probably get over the back. Yeah, so great, cool. Segue into a new topic. So I've had the boys home with me sick for the last couple of days with a bit of a tummy bug, which is not particularly fun, but now they've decided that they're better, so they're starving. Because they both haven't eaten quite as much as they normally would over the last couple of days. But yeah, Ben came in just then to ask for food, even though I said to him, like, have your yogurt, but then you need to wait until lunchtime for anything more. Anyway, he still came back, didn't he? But we'd just gone to the grocery shop to buy some more snacks, and I had to buy a card for my partner because it's our anniversary tomorrow. And so the boys got treats while they were there. They got a packet of chips and a chocolate bar each. You wouldn't know it by the way Ben just whinged about still being hungry at my door. He's like, you have been fed. So, boys, growing kids in general, they just never stop eating. So I apologise if you can hear them. They are walking through the hallway, and they're watching their iPads at the moment, and they've got headphones on, so they're talking extra loud and carrying on. They're on their iPads because I've told them that as soon as I've kind of done this and we've had lunch, they have to go out and spend some time outside with the puppy. We'll try and take him on a walk, and then they've got chores to do. So they're getting in their screen time while they can, because I'm about to make them put it away for a bit. Now that they're feeling a bit better, we'll take the dog for a walk, and I'll make them come out and get some fresh air with me. The puppy has been destroying things in our yard because he's a puppy. So with all of my flower pots, I've got like a flower pot stand where I've got little baby succulents growing for when we finish the other side of the retaining wall, and I can plant them in the garden, which now he's pulled all the pots down and he pulls the plants out and just spreads the dirt all over the footpath. But I'm like, oh, well, the succulents that are actually in the garden are growing quite well. So I said to my partner, like, we'll save what we can, but if we can't save it, then we're going to have to just, then I'll just, when the other side of the retaining wall is ready and I can do some planting, I'll just have to go back into the succulents that have already grown and pull some from there and grow them instead. But we've had to move them inside the pool gate fencing so that bear can't get to them anymore. And the kids, I think I've mentioned it before, that the kids have taught him to get onto the trampoline because when he first got here, because they wanted to jump with him. So now he gets up onto the trampoline all the time, and he has teared to shreds the net around the trampoline, and now he's tearing the mat around the springs off. So I was like, I've got chew toys, I've got rope toys, I've got, all these things out there, and he's deciding that in the morning, because the kids are not quite early enough for him to go and play with him and burn off some of his energy, he's just destroying all of my stuff out there. So, yeah, I don't know what to do. We'll have to make sure we get some more things. My partner's going to get him he's going to get both of the dogs some bones today, because it's probably been a little bit since we've given them a bone to try and keep them distracted. So, but it's all puppy stuff, it's all teething stuff, and I just wish that he would, instead of chewing on my stuff, he'd chew on one of the 10 toys he has laying around in the yard or whatever. That can't win them all. You've got to teach him to grow out of it and redirect him to chew other things. So, he pulls bark off the trees and he chomps all over the bark, and he has a few really big sticks that the kids have found and made sure they've got in the yard for him. So we'll see how he goes. He should be fine. He'll get there. He's just a puppy. But yeah, it's like every morning we've woken up this week, we've been like, alright, what damage do we... Oh, sorry, kicked you. What damage do we have to clean up this morning before work? We've tried to tuck everything away, so... And we'll, this weekend we'll pull off the... pull the netting and the stuff off the trampoline, because I don't want him to he's just tearing at it. He's not eating any of it, but I don't want him to accidentally eat any of it or to get caught up in the netting and get himself hurt or something like that. So we'll take it all down. I said to my partner, because he's like, oh, we're going to have to take the net off. And I said, well, look, I said, when I was a kid, we never had a net around the trampoline. So I was like, the kids are the ones that taught him to get up there. So they're going to have to suffer the consequences of now their trampoline's ruined, because they thought it would be fun to put a puppy up on the trampoline. So because I don't want to just buy a new net and then have him go and do the exact same thing. So I said, oh well, they're gonna have to learn to jump carefully on the trampoline without the net then. It's so funny, like it's, you know, these days with the kids' toys, and it's like, I never had a net. I never had a mat around the springs. Oh, do you remember getting caught on the spring? Your leg fell through it or something. You know, I was like, oh, they didn't quite care about us that much back in the 90s or whatever, when they would let us just like jump on this bouncy thing and try not to fall off and break an arm. So I just think it's so funny now, like you see toys or something and you're like, yeah, no, there was none of that concern when I was a child and I had this toy. We've got, oh god, here's another kid. Oh, same kid. Get out, Benny. He's not listening. That's what he says. Ben, get out, bro. You'll be quiet. Okay. I you can't even get an hour to yourself in this house. No, he's alright. They've bloody taken over my room. So yesterday when I was working, I was out in my office and they are both in here in my bed. That's where they chose to spend their day, was in my bed laying down. And I was like, alright guys, well, some of us are working and this makes us jealous, so you gotta get out of my bed. 94. What does that look like? Yeah. $94. What's this one? 53. Just trying to work out these colours. Yeah, okay, I might do that. Might do that. Just trying to work out like where this skin touches it. They've put some like dark reddish colours right on the outline of the skin, but then there's these brown colours, so I'm trying to work out the best way to kind of do her hairline. I'm going to do this one here as well. So my partner is big into car racing, F1 in particular. And a few years ago I've actually stitched him an F1 Ferrari as a present. I think I gave it to him for Christmas.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when we started dating, I would obviously watch it with him, not really knowing anything about it. Didn't know what I was watching. Didn't know what was happening. Um, just kind of watched it for him. What is happening here? Oh, okay. This top corner is her headphones. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Alright, I might try and finish off her hair. And then I'll move on to doing that. Well, that's exciting. Yeah, so I started just watching it just because that's what I would do with him. Do one of his things that he liked. Alright, Benny, out.
That was fun.
No, go on. You go into your room. I'll be done soon and you can come straight back in.
That would make the noise.
No, go on. Quick, please. Out to your room. Go on. I'll let you know when you can come back in. Quick, no, because, Ben, you got your headphones on. You don't realise how loud you're being. Away you go. Pretty, please. Thank you, baby. Love you. You can still hear him when he's in the hallway. Yeah, so I would just watch it with my partner because he liked it and whatever, and then I kind of just slowly was like, got really into it, and then I would be, and I had my favourite drivers and all of that, and then one day, maybe like a year into our relationship, we weren't together when the race was on. So normally the races are on a Sunday, and so it was just one night where we weren't together, and then I watched the race, and then like by myself, and I was like, oh my god, that's such good, and and he's like, what is happening? And I was like, oh no, like I'm really into it now. So now it is something that we enjoy together. So we're excited. It's testing is on this weekend, so we've watched a bit of the testing. And the first race weekend will be next weekend. So we're like gearing up for F1 to start again, which will be, yeah, that'll be good. I can't wait. We both like get real disappointed when we're like, oh, the F1 season's over, now we've got to wait. But they just keep adding more races, so now it just seems to go for a lot longer. So we're not actually like, the break between the seasons isn't quite as long as it used to be, or it doesn't feel like it's as long as it once was. So, and normally they don't have testing this close to the first race weekend, but they're testing in Bahrain, and that's where the first race will be held. So they're just doing it back-to-back weekends on it, which I mean works out well for us because we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait so long. But yeah, it's I'm excited that it's coming back on. One year I tried to buy him, actually it was right before COVID, or right at the start of COVID. So I bought him tickets, because he's never actually gone in person to see an F1 race. And here in Australia, normally it's the first race of each season and it's in Melbourne. And he's never really, before we got together, he never really went on holidays, he never really did anything for himself. So he's never gone to an F1 race or any of that. So I bought him tickets for the 4-day pass. I bought him because I was like, if we're going to do it, we're going to go big, we're going to enjoy the heck out of it. And then, so we were allowed in on the Thursday, so we watched, some of the qualifying for the other, like the support races, and we were able to like walk around the whole track and sit in all of the different grandstands, because Thursday it's like a roaming grandstand, you can sit wherever you want, and then the other days you have obviously your ticket is meant to be, so you're assigned seats. And so we did all of that on Thursday, and then all of this COVID stuff was starting up, and we were like, oh God, hopefully it's, like it's on now, they can't cancel it, surely. And then Friday morning we got there, and we were just, they just held all the crowds back, and it was cancelled, and he was devastated. And like, we don't live in Melbourne, we had to fly there, we had to book hotels, we had, all of that, so we was there for the rest of the weekend, and yeah, he was just so sad. Did I just go straight there instead of, yep. Yeah, he was just so disappointed, and I felt so bad, because it was like it was expensive tickets, and it was like his birthday / Christmas present, and I just felt like, like it was, but yeah, it was so upsetting. But then we had to spend the whole weekend there in Melbourne, so we went and did like touristy stuff, and like everywhere we went, there was like that one dad with his family that was wearing his F1 t-shirt, his F1 shirt, and just looking miserable. It was all the other guys there because they came for the race and they had to miss out, and I was like, oh. But yeah, so eventually, I've just done that again. Why am I doing that? Eventually we will go back and try and do it again. I think we're looking at going next weekend.
Super annoying.
You're being super annoying.
I can't do anything.
Get out, Ben.
I can't do anything.
Baby, I've asked you if you could just leave me alone while I film this, because I can't talk to you about stuff. So away you go. Go and watch TV, play the Switch or something. Out. Stay out of my room. Go. Come on. I'll be done soon. Benny, I can't talk to you about this. Quick, I'm in the middle of filming. You can go away. Restart your tablet then.
I can't. It's not even letting me turn it off.
Then charge it.
It's not flat.
Pop it on the charger, bub.
It's not flat.
Benjamin, away you go, please.
It's at 58%.
Okay, baby. Away you go. I'll be done soon and I'll help you then. Sorry. Yeah, so eventually we will go back. We're thinking maybe next year or the year after, and we have spoken to my mum and my stepdad, and we think that they might come with us. So my mum obviously is not a huge F1 fan, but my stepdad has watched a little bit of it, so he said, oh yeah, I'll definitely go. So he's interested. I don't know why I just ended that. I don't know why at all, because I've got this little one down here in the bottom that I'm meant to do, and I should have just carried it down to the bottom there. I was just like, oh yeah, I've done all the hair bits. My bad. So, I knew I should have locked my door. I also just realised that that little one will be in it. So, Ben has ADHD and autism. So that's why he was a little bit worked up just about his tablet. And then I've just realised that he probably hasn't had his morning dose of medication, which is why he's a little bit more argumentative about stuff, but he's alright. He's fine. He's gone back out there and he's laughing. I can hear him laughing, so we've had a little bit of trouble. Now he's squealing for no reason. We've had a little bit of trouble with his medication lately, just because he's getting bigger. He's getting older. I think the hormones in his body are changing, so his tablet's not working quite as well as it used to be. So we are waiting for an appointment to have a review done, just to check, and we are working 29. We're working with his psychologist to try and make sure that all of the things we've learnt about his coping mechanisms and stuff, he's still kind of working on them, because he's kind of at the point where he's struggling to regulate, regulate his emotions, and I think it's all in the age, so we try really hard to overcome that without needing to do anything with medication, but he is really struggling at the moment, so we try our best, but sometimes he just has some bad days. He's like out there now, I can hear him, he's going a bit between everything, like he's kind of happy and talking, and then he's yelling at Joshy. So it's gone quiet now, so I think he's found something to distract himself, but he's got things, so like in his room he's got a box full of sensory toys. That's like his calm down box, so he knows he can just go and play with one of those toys and try and calm himself down. So he's got techniques that he uses, but yeah, just lately it's been a bit tougher for him, which is hard as a parent, because then you feel like, what do I do? Like, how do I help? All of that, but yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot once he kind of gets into a mood. He just kind of, there's not a lot I can do to calm him down, unfortunately. Where have I parked? Oh. 1, 2. He's yeah. So yeah. These greens are very like olive green for her headphones. I didn't realise we'd quite be getting to her headphones. Quite yet, so that's exciting. Whoop. So it's like the band on top of her head, the top of the big headphones. Yeah, now I feel like I've run out of things to say again. This happened to me last video. Yeah, I mean, not a lot's happened other than having sick kids, and I just feel like, you know, the last couple of years, because we all had the lockdown and, you know, you weren't going anywhere because of COVID and all of that, you know, there wasn't as much sickness in those first couple of, like, COVID years as, you know, previous winter flu seasons. And, you know, you didn't catch the viral bugs and all of that type of stuff. And now I just feel like, you know, every other week someone is sick with something. You know, the last couple of years have been, last year was particularly bad for our family with just getting sick, because you had those couple of years where you weren't exposed to it. So, you know, it hit a little bit harder than it would have if we maybe had have picked up a few little bugs the couple of years that we were in isolation or whatever. So it's like, it's hard to yeah, like this year's been a bit rough because you're kind of picking up every little thing. What have I done there? Oh, okay. Interesting. I don't know what I've done here, but 5 from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, I've added this little one here, but it's not actually meant to be that colour. Oh, here. It's meant to be oh, okay. Nope, I'm just seeing it wrong. I did that right. Whew. Look at me go. I just Just had a little panic that I may have done that wrong, but I didn't. And even if I did, it's meant to be green anyway, and they're very close together, so. $15. Oh. Get in there. Oh, guys, I cannot thread a needle today. Yeah, so we yeah, so I don't have too much to say because I said it all / barely anything on Wednesdays. Stitch with me, and I've been at home with sick kiddos since then, so haven't gotten out much. Oh my god. The kids are, oh well, Ben is singing at the top of his lungs. He said to me yesterday, because they were at home, and his tablet must have, his room doesn't pick up the internet quite as well. So he came out to me and he's like, I'm just going to restart the internet. And I was like, oh no, you are not going to restart the internet because I'm working. And if you restart the internet, my computer's going to go. Like, it's going to turn off the server for work. I was like, you can't. I was like, you're just going to have to suffer through it, bud. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, because it was after lunch, so it wasn't even like I was going on a break, so I could, like, log out of everything and then do a reboot of the internet in my lunch hour. Nope, he was just like, I'm just going to turn it off. And I was like, no, 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 no. Don't turn that off. My partner sometimes turns it off because it's the same plug near, like, the toasted sandwich maker. And I don't know what has happened to the top of this thread. Hopefully I can pull that all through to the back. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so it's like right there beside like the toasted sandwich maker or jaffle maker, I think Americans call it. Yeah, and so sometimes he'll just like pull that out, the plug out for that to turn it off, and then he knocks the internet power cord out, and then everyone will just lose internet throughout the house, and everyone's like, what's happened to the internet? And lose their minds, and then we have to be like, did you turn that off again? And he's like, oh no. He just plugs it back in like we don't know. He's sitting there eating his toasted sandwich, and we're like, okay, yeah, no, it wasn't you at all. But he does it like all the time, every time nearly. And so now I'm just like, did you check that you haven't unplugged the internet? So you have to remind him to double check that he hasn't just knocked out the internet and ruined the kids' whole lives. Kids are so dramatic about that. And it's like, and we're doing that thing that like our parents used to do to us. And so me and my partner will stand there and we'll be like, back when we were kids, we never had this, and we would never be allowed to speak to our parents the way that you're allowed to. Yeah. And I was like, oh God, Josh, we've turned into our parents. Like, we need to stop this. We've just gotten so old, and this one conversation where we're like, when we were young, we were out the back playing with a stick. All I had was one box of Hot Wheels cars. It's like, it's so funny. Every time we start, because we both do it, and every time we start doing it, I just think, oh man, we are ridiculous. We had one family computer, and we had to use dial-up. Do you know what dial-up is? And the kids are just looking at us like, what are you on about? What? So funny. And I used to make fun of my dad every time he'd do that to us. I used to like make such fun of it, and then I was like, oh great, now I am my dad, like doing the exact same thing. It's so funny. Oh, I felt like I was going to cough then. I'm trying to work out how to cough away from the camera. How much do I have left? I might just park that over there. So Joshy has found, actually I've worked it out the other day that Pitch Perfect is back on Netflix. So he's had the last 2 days where he's been off school sick, and he's watched the 3 Pitch Perfect movies twice now. He's done 2 movie marathons. Actually, I think 3 times. I think he watched it again this morning out in the lounge room. So he is happy that his movie marathon movie is back on Netflix. My movie marathon movie is The Hunger Games. If I'm feeling in the mood for a movie marathon, I just put on all of The Hunger Games. Yeah, I could watch that as many times as, yeah, I can just watch that over and over again. I mean, not in one weekend, obviously, or in a couple of days. I'd only ever do it like once in a row, but yeah, that's my go-to movie marathon movie. See, this is where I differ a bit from the Royal Rose thing. So these ones that I've just all parked over to the side here, I'm like, there's none down below it. So I'm just going to move them across there because it didn't there's no point me ending it off over there and then coming back and having to get another one. Like, I'll just continue to use it over there. So that's kind of where I differ. I will park into that if I feel like that's a better use of my floss than ending it and then restarting a new one right beside it there. But because I'm not doing it like all the time, it is still a lot neater on the back. But yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I'm like 80% in on my, like 80% in on my like method of what I'm doing, and then like I just kind of work it to what works best for me. In that. So sometimes I will do, like, if I've got a tiny little bit of thread left and I'm like, to take it down, I'd only need one, to take it down, I would only have one square down there, but I don't know if I'd be able to thread my needle back onto it. I will just complete that stitch right then and there and then move on. And like end the thread just down below where I should be ending it for that, but instead of like trying to pull it out and then once I'm working in that tower, try and get that threaded again, and just to do the one stitch. So, and I kind of feel like doing it that way, like especially if it's just straight down below, so I'd be parking it and then when I work in that tower doing that anyway, like it's going to be done with the exact same thread the exact same way anyway once I'm in that tower working on it, so I might as well just do it now and get it completed and end it off while I'm working in that area, like while I've got it on the needle already threaded, if that makes any sense. In my head I made a little bit of sense, and then I feel like I just ended it with a bunch of ramble. So okay, 50. 59. How long is that? Not very long. I'm gonna pull a bit of this. Yeah, so I've got two more lots of towers right under where I'm working at the moment, and then I'll come back up to the top and go across from there. So we'll do more of the top. We'll go back to up the top to do more of the top there. So we'll kind of leave behind her head for a little bit. and go back up and finish that top banner and the border and all of that all the way across. I need to I should work a bit more on some of my whip go goals, but I'm just really loving working on this at the moment, so I've got no desire to do anything else. I was just thinking, someone commented on my January update video this morning, and then I was like, you know, makes me feel a bit like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to do a February update video soon, and all it's gonna end up being is Gamer. I've done a few things on a few other projects, but you know, it feels like it's just that'll be a quick video, just me talking about Gamer. I think, you know, the progress has been awesome on her though, and I love it. And I think we'll get an eye done in this first kind of like pass across, so when I do these next like 2 rows of towers, I think that I will I think that we'll get her eye at least. I think we did look at the picture in another one, and I kind of worked out what we'd end up looking at when we've gone and finished this, but we'll have partial face to stare at while we go and do these other ones across. The top row will be a bit boring maybe, because it'll all be just that outside border, but I'll try to make sure that in whatever videos I'm doing there's at least interesting stuff to try and see come to life. Ben's winning at something, taking it by that cry, the outcry of joy. It's a beautiful sound hearing your kids just like have fun. Joshy has and always has had this little evil cackle, and as like a toddler who was cackling like a little witch, it was so adorable. But he like still has his big cackle when he finds something extra funny, and you know, you just get flashbacks of when he was a baby and how adorable he sounded when he was doing it. Like, they're in there and Joshy's cackling away. It's good. Oh. Oh no. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get this back on, am I? No. It's so short. Oh, there we go. Got it on. Crisis averted. There. And that was quite a pain to get back on, so we'll just park it. I'll start a new one below. Alrighty. 3 more colours and then we're done. $76. I hope the camera doesn't pick it up, but my tummy was just made a real loud grumble. It just wanted to be involved in the video. Get on, get on, get on. There we go. Yeah, see, look how many different colours go into just the skin on her forehead. And this is what like the banners is like as well, because obviously it's all the same like skin tone colours. So the banner has all of these in it as well. Okay. And the glasses is 38. There's this short bit. That should surely get me. Surely get me 4 stitches. Ooh, maybe not. Oh god, I don't know if you guys will be able to pick up their laughter in the background, but they're crazy. This is the kid that promised me, oh, I'll be quiet while you're in the video. This is why I had to kick him out. He doesn't realise how loud his laugh is. He's bloody in his room on the other side of the hallway, and I can still hear him like he would be sitting right here beside us. So funny. Okay, 54. Last colour. Last colour, and then we are done with this tower. How exciting. We got some of her headphones done. That's pretty cool. We've got her hair and a bit of her forehead. And I have so many parked threads down here below this. Alright. 1, 2. Well, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. If you have anything you want me to talk about, just drop me a comment and I will try to bring it up in the next Stitch With Me that I do. Yeah, I hope everyone has a great weekend. And thank you for watching. Thanks. Bye.